Hi Fude lovers, welcome back to my channel. I'll be going over my Hakuhodo favorites today along with some information about the upcoming price increase. A good number of brushes in this video have been in my favorites videos over the years, but I've consolidated them here for those of you who have requested it. I hope you can stick around and subscribe if you find my content helpful. Please click the bell icon to be notified each time I upload a video. Hakuhodo is increasing their prices on June 1st, 2022, 30% on top of the 30 to 40% increase they did in 2019, which comes out to be around 70 to 80% from their pre-2019 prices. So let's just take a moment to soak that in. 30% on top of the 30 to 40% increase they did in 2019. So total comes out to be around 70 to 80% on top of their pre-2019 prices. That's crazy. In addition to the price increase, the Japanese site says they are discontinuing their basic line and introducing new lines called the Basics and Selections from the basic line. The reason for this is to minimize the amount of brushes people have to choose from, thus making it easier. You will still be able to choose your handle size. The basic line brushes will still be available in their other lines like G, J, I, etc. They will also discontinue their silver and white handles. I most likely will not be buying any more large face brushes from the company as I can no longer justify the prices with the declining quality and quality control. I'll stick to small brushes like eyeshadow brushes and highlighter brushes if I were to buy more. I'm sharing my favorites here because it was requested, but basically buy at your own risk. Starting off with the B004G. It's a flat goat lid shader. It's on the thin to medium side of density. It can grab and deposit a lot of soft to medium pressed products despite not being dense. See, it's pretty flexible because of the thinness, but yeah, it also depends on the bundling, so you can get one that's thicker than mine, and that would be even better. I like to use these types of brushes for applying metallic and shimmer formulas to the inner third of my lids. It's great for those days when I don't feel like using my fingers or want a softer look. I recommend it if you prefer soft looks. Next is the J146, which is a small tapered goat blending brush. It's great for small lid spaces and precision blending. It does a good job at blending in small areas without shearing out or over blending the colors. This is the S146. It's a small but mighty scroll blender with a tapered tip. Like the goat version, it's great for focus blending and small lids. It blends smoothly without much effort. I'm not a fan of the vermilion handles because the slanted bottoms chip easily, so I would recommend the BK black and gold version of this instead. I store my vermilion brushes laying flat, but the tips are so fragile that they can chip if they come into contact with other brushes or the edges of the drawers. This is the BRJ142, it's in both lines. It's a round and tapered blending brush depending on the bundling. The density also depends on the bundling. I have two very different ones, an old one on the right that is much denser than the other one with a rounded head, while the less dense one on the left has a tapered tip. The thinner one is a newer one that I picked up last year. I love the one with the tapered tip because it allows me to focus the blending instead of over blending like the other one. Hakuhodo may be putting less hairs into their brushes now to cut corners. Please let me know how your brush ends up being like if you get one. Here's the S142BK. It's the larger version of the S146 but from the black and gold series. So gold barrel, black handle. Gorgeous. Mine is very tapered with a prominent tip which allows for excellent focus blending. It blends similarly to the S146. I can blend from soft to medium strength. It's terrific and I love it, but you just have to be very gentle with scroll hair because the hair tips break very easily. I've laid out the S142BK on the left and the S146 on the right just so that you can see a comparison between the handle lengths and the colors and the head sizes. So for the 142BK, the black and gold one on the left, it's longer and you can put it upright, whereas for the vermilion handle, it's a little bit shorter, and I would highly advise not having it sit upright ever because even if it was just like laying flat, it can get scratched or chipped Here's the head size comparison between the 142 and the 146. Handle length comparison again. Here's the B5521, one of the first Fude loves of my life ever. Like, I started with I think the MAC 165. I loved that shape so much. And then once I found the B5521, I was like, oh, softer, brighter days. Anyways, this goat candlestick shaped highlight brush has been my holy grail highlight brush since I first got it years ago. I have a backup of this as well as the same shape from other brands. It has a round ferrule, and the head is pretty wonky because I laid it flat, but yeah, just ignore that. The head is dense, soft, and fluffy. Rabbit's tail, so cute. It grabs a lot of product and applies heavily due to the density. The S5521 BBK on the right is another one that I love. It's a densely packed goat and horse candlestick shaped brush. It can be kind of prickly for sensitive skin due to the horse. Horse hair can pick up and apply pigment intensely just like goat. It applied Maybelline's Master Chrome Molten Rose Gold highlighter with a strong finish. The shape is also really weird because I laid it flat, but just like the B1152, it can also build up product really well and look good. They're both strong performers. The finish is close to the J5521 as well. I love rabbit tail pom-poms. The G511 provides a more natural finish if you're not into blinding highlights. It's a small angled head made out of a mix of goat and squirrel. The ferrule is oval-shaped and pinched. The head is on the loose side and isn't dense, so it gives a lighter diffused effect. Oh, that was just glitter. Building out product doesn't make the finish much heavier. The finish mostly stays natural. I like it for light and sheer looks, but it's not the first brush I reach for due to my preferences. You can also use it to set your under eyes and sweep fallout from that area as well. The B or J110 has a pinched oval ferrule and a rounded top with a flat body. It's a goat blush brush, but I can also see this being used as a small powder brush. It's on the medium to dense side, but fluffs up post-wash so it doesn't feel too dense. It works wonderfully for picking up soft to medium pressed products and applies blush beautifully. I've tried a number of blush brushes from Hakuhodo and this is my favorite hands down. I also have the same brush from the Vermilion S series on the right. The Hakuhodo J or B10 is my holy grail goat powder brush. It has a round head with a flat top. I normally prefer rounded tops, but this one is an exception because it feels incredibly nice when swirled around the face. It's on the large side to me and expands post-wash, which means you can cover a lot of surface area with it quickly. It's medium to dense in terms of density and it's medium in flexibility. I like that it has medium flexibility because it provides it with some movement and feels a bit airy during use so it doesn't splay out much on the face either. It provides medium coverage which can be built up. It gives a flawless finish without looking cakey or heavy. The J or B531 is an amazing goat brush I love to use with bronzer for a soft, diffused finish, especially with Tom Ford's Gold Dust bronzer. It has a flattened oval pinched ferrule with an angled head. The size is on the large size and it fluffs up quite a bit post-wash. It was laid flat on one side, so you can see how much it fluffed up on the left. It's probably considered medium-sized to those of you who like big brushes. It's dense with medium flexibility. I usually use it straight out of the brush guard since I prefer targeted bronzer. It can pick up medium to hard pressed products, but I would stick with medium to not damage the hairs. It applies with a light to medium finish and diffuses the bronzer to give it an even and smooth finish. You can also use it for powder if you like angled brushes for that purpose. I think the black and gold version of this, the S531BK, would also be very lovely. This is the G504. I kept this one out of this and the larger G503 for contour. The G503 is much larger, and I find that this one suits my preferences better as I prefer a thinner and smaller area for contour. It's made out of blue squirrel and horse. It works really well for contour due to the short bristles and densely packed head. It picks up a ton of product since it's so dense, so be careful when dipping it into the powder. It applies and blends smoothly. It easily blends and diffuses with little effort thanks to the dense head. So you can see how firm it is when I press it against my hand. It is a double-edged sword though. It can apply sharply, a lot, and blend well, but may over-apply and over-blend. Contouring isn't my thing and I'm not that good at it, but I'm still able to make a somewhat decent looking contour with this. Next are nice to haves if you're interested in trying them out. Here's the all-scroll version of the G5523. Mine's old, so the new one has some synthetic hairs mixed in. It's a scroll version of the J5523. It's flat and round. So you can see that the body doesn't fluff up much at all due to the scroll hair. I like to use it on the tips to blend small areas with, like above the eyelid fold. It's a soft blender. This is the old all-scroll version of the G5533. The new one also has synthetic mixed in like the previous brush. It has a round body shape and frill with a flat top. It's a color placer for me, but is able to diffuse the edges a bit. It's also a soft blender. My particular one has coarse hairs but feels fine on my sensitive eyelids. The B507 is a flat scroll and goat blush brush with a rounded top. It has a pinched oval ferrule. I keep it in a brush guard and use it for both bronzer and blush. It applies in a medium targeted area for blush with the front side when I pat my blush on with it. It surprisingly works well with Milani baked blushes. Given that mixed heads with scroll hair or just scroll hair in general doesn't really pick up the baked formulas that well. It gives a natural finish with the big blushes. It also applies soft to medium pressed matte blushes pigmentedly. I used to really like this for bronzer, but I like it more for blush now after playing with it again recently. It does a decent job at applying bronzer, but it depends on the formula you use it with. I thought it would work well with a soft pressed bronzer like Benefit's Hoola, but it actually didn't blend for me while it applied a harder pressed bronzer like Clinique's Solar Pop Alright. I think it's better to not keep a brush guard on it for application, especially if you like a diffused finish and the finish in a larger surface area. I keep mine in a brush guard because I prefer targeted placement for a lot of things in general, but yeah, sometimes it's better just to leave it expanded and very fluffy so that you can get a nice soft diffused look. You can also use this as a medium-sized powder brush. The last one is the J602PI Slide Face Brush Angled. It's a retractable angled goat blush brush with a cute pink handle. I like the holographic font on it as well. It's a nice touch. This is a one and done kind of blush brush for traveling. It is medium in density and applies blush with a pigmented finish. You can sweep blush on with it, but I prefer to dot 3 times across and then blend. I pretty much always travel with it and some other blush brushes to alternate with, but this is a handy little brush due to its compact size and retractable function. Regular blush brushes do give me a nicer finish, but this is a cute one to have and travel with. I hope this was helpful. I'm also interested in knowing what your favorite Hakuhodo brushes are and why. Also, if you just bought any new Fude recently, I'd love to know. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!